Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're going to take a step back from the new hero to talk about Brigitte, who is a hero that has had some pretty significant reworks to how she plays, especially with the addition of Rollock. I'm sitting down with KarQ, who is of course a well-versed support player at top 500 levels, to ask the question, is she any good? Where is she strong? Where is she weak? What's changed? Kind of working out her place in the game now. You can check out all of KarQ's details in the description below, but let's get started. Before we talk specifically about Brigitte, and maybe to a lesser extent the Moira changes, why should people listen to you when it comes to playing supports at least, KarQ?
Why should people listen to me? I mean, they don't have to, but I have a decent understanding of the game. I've been playing this game since release. I've hit top 500 on every season since season 3, playing mostly support, so I feel like I have a good understanding of support heroes, what it entails, and how to climb.
And I guess now's a really good time to sort of ask the question that's on a lot of people's minds. How good is this new iteration of Brigitte, do you think?
Well, yeah, everybody when they saw the patch notes for the new Brig were probably surprised at the direction she went in. And honestly, I want to say they put her a step in the right direction because she feels less of a tank now. That 500 HP shield that got reduced down to 200 is quite significant. I played her for a few games yesterday on the PTR servers, and it would break very often if I tried to frontline permanently. However, the buff to the Inspire healing, the multiple healing packs, really does allow her to feel more like a support and very peel-centric. So instead of permanently holding your shield in the front line, I would actually be chilling in the back line and using my whip shot to poke divers away. That whip shot is so fast now, it's faster than a Roadhog hook. So if you're, well versed in hooking people with Roadhog, you can whip shot people just as easier, if not easier. Sorry, just as easily, if not easier. Whenever I see a Winston leap in, a lot of times I know how to Roadhog hook him, but now I'm even more confident in whip shotting him away in the air without him ever reaching my back line. So a good change in the right direction, and I'm happy to see where she goes.
We should probably look at the areas where she's stronger now and the sort of buffs of her kit, because it's a typical Blizzard buff one thing, nerf another, and it's definitely the case here. But I don't know about you, but my experience is playing her, I'm able to do quite a lot of healing in specific situations, which I do want to talk about in a second, but her healing output is pretty strong right now. Do you agree?
The thing about people arguing that she's not a main healer is because you don't really have as much control from her passive Inspire healing. Right now, I feel like her healing output's great because you can add those armor healing packs, multiple ones, but other than that, the Inspire healing, I wouldn't say is random, but it's a bit more out of your control. It's a lot more dependent on where you're positioned and where your teammates are positioned, right? That range on the aura is large but not small at the same time. So if no one is jumping your backline and you're playing there and you can't get any whip shots off, then you're stuck only using that healing over time with your armor pack. But from most people's Brig experiences, you are brawling and fighting, so it does feel like you're healing a lot. So I would say don't be fooled too much by the healing numbers, though. They can be inflated depending on the comp you're playing with and playing against.
And there's very specific situations where I think she's very good, but you did mention the armor packs. Now this is probably the most significant change that she's had. Do you like this kind of version? Because it feels like, alright, we've got a strong ability here, but it's not half as strong as they used to be. So what's your take on the armor pack changes?
It's definitely an adjustment. Obviously you lose some power in the instantaneous heal, and the big chunkier instantaneous heal, and now it's a bit over time, so it's a bit more spread out. I don't know. My take is it's neither a buff or a nerf. It's taking power away in one aspect and adding power in another, right? Lose power in the chunk healing, but add power in having multiple packs and healing over time. So it's just more of a playstyle adjustment for Brig, more so than anything, with this new armor pack.
Have you found any interesting interactions there? Because one thing that I tried that actually had a lot of success was a Genji jumped in with Blade, and I just threw all of my armor packs on him as he was going in, because you have that overheal capacity thing going on, even with the characters getting a little bit of armor too. So I found that those kind of diving in interactions for Brigitte were actually surprisingly strong and effective.
Yeah, I agree with that because, I didn't really understand the patch notes at first, but then I had it clarified that each armor pack extends the duration. So if you do throw, 3 armor packs on somebody, then they'd get 6 seconds of healing of... what's the number right now? Is it 120 over 2?
Yeah, I think so. So like 60 healing per second for 6 seconds is like the duration of the blade, right? So that's constant healing going.
Yes, 360 constant healing. As long as he doesn't get antied, I'd say it's really good, yeah. I exactly what you said, throwing a couple of like maybe 1 or 2 armor packs on Genji as he goes for a blade in the backline can help him stay alive without having to worry about him so much. So the pressure's off your other teammates by trying to keep him alive in the backline. So yeah, that interaction's good. I'm excited to see some more, interactions and dive potentials with Brig. Traditionally you played Brig with Reinzar or like Orisa Bunker perhaps, if like the enemy team runs a lot of heavy dive. But if you can figure out a way to play Brig with dive specifically offensively, then I'm all for it.
Well, imagine the interaction between Brigitte and Doomfist, with like Doomfist getting shields back. Like, I think there's a lot of like specific synergies that might happen that are going to be really strong with the addition of Brigitte, because those armor health packs do twice as much healing as a Harmony Orb, and as well provide armor when they sort of max out. So like that's a really strong thing that I think is overlooked because it's not the instant 150 health.
Agreed. I think when you put it in that perspective, it can definitely make them a lot more tankier. But the only thing I think of in those examples is diminishing returns, right? Whenever you nano a Genji when he goes in, more likely than not, he lives through the whole thing unless he gets slept. Like if you throw a couple more armor or healing packs on him, it's not going to make much of a difference. Like if he gets slept, or he's probably going to stay alive and blade everybody. Same with Doom. He's usually alive throughout all his combos because of his massive shield. So yes, it's a powerful interaction, but I think if they're already like a solid Genji or Doom, then it's not as impactful in that regard. But obviously I'm very biased. I'm just thinking about my in-game situations, because I know if the smart Doomfists wouldn't put themselves in that kind of risk to begin with. I guess it just allows the really, really, really overly aggressive Dooms and Genjis to feed less, because you can add those armor packs to them. But yeah.
Yeah, you can enable more people, but I don't know if it's enough to enable like a new GOATS comp kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to open the door to other stuff when, like you said, heroes like Anna can do just as much, if not more. Somebody's playing Brigitte on your team now with Rolllock. What do you think is going to be the best support to play alongside? Because a lot of people I've seen have said that like Brigitte Mercy is a really difficult combo to try and beat, because their self-support and their self-sufficiency means that it's really difficult to get picks on either of them.
I'd say if the enemy team is running dive, Mercy Brig seems very, very powerful as a defensive kind of support lineup. Because yeah, Mercy's maneuverable, she has high mobility, reliable healing through like a Winston bubble or whatever, if time comes where they bubble your backline. Same with Brig, she can deter dive and armor pack people through that shield, and keep on swinging away at the Winston, whip shot them all away. So I'd say Mercy Brig is solid against dive, and that's why it's very hard to beat. Could
you see it sort of overtaking the supports for bunker comp? Because you got like Baptiste and Anna there as options too, but Brigitte Mercy seems like a very difficult, and that's where I think Brigitte is really good on defense specifically, where she's very difficult to move. So I could sort of see her slot into bunker comps to an extent, but I didn't know if you agreed or whether you feel Anna Baptiste are much better alongside Mercy in those comps.
Well, I feel like choosing those support lineups would depend on what the enemy team is running and what your team is running. If they're running dive, enemy team is running dive, you're running bunker, then yeah, Brig Mercy works well. If the enemy team is running bunker and you're running bunker, then Brig isn't as effective because she can't really like run into their backline and swing away. You never really get that close. Most people just kind of just poke the shield until somebody gets a pull hook combo. So Brig there in that instance feels less effective. I would probably still opt for the Mercy Zen or Mercy Anna when you're running bunker mirrors. You can still run the Baptiste and the Annas if your team is running, Bastion, or something that could utilize that Batiste immortality and or a Batiste ultimate. So it's Brig and Mercy would still be dependent on comps. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Doesn't seem that she'd be very strong on attack. From my own experience, that she can really suck, especially if you're running into a defensive bunker comp where you just can't reach them. That's where it feels that she's very, very weak.
Exactly, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Having support heroes and support combos being chosen specifically against certain comps, but having it weak against other comps is a good part of Overwatch. We run into issues when a single support works in every single composition, both to play defensively or offensively, depending on your comp and their comp. That's when we run into issues, and that's where, back in the day when Mercy, new Valkyrie Mercy, the first change, she was just play permanently in every single composition because you couldn't go wrong with it. Same with Ana for a certain point too, and even Lucio. But now, with these changes, yeah, you're right. I don't think Brig is strong in bunker mirrors, especially on attack, since you have to go to them.
The sort of addition of role lockers, I think, made players more dedicated. That it wouldn't surprise me if more people are going, I'm going to play support, and really dedicate to that slot, whereas before they may flex. There's so many good supports right now. Ana, Zenyatta, Mercy, Baptiste, as you mentioned. Would you recommend players add the new Brigitte to their repertoire of supports, or do you feel like focus on the Anas, the Zens, try and avoid Brigitte for now when it comes to learning her? What would you advise there?
It's still early on the change, but so far I'm very impressed with the adjustment that Blizzard has made on her. I would say go for it, learn her, because her shield got nerfed and her self-healing is halved, so she's not as tanky, but she's still great against dive, like enemy dive. Healing, new whip shot is actually insane. Like it's so much more reliable to hit. It's ridiculous. And it's very short cooldown, like 4 seconds. So I use it all the time to just poke people off in the distance, and they can't really flank until they get a little bit of healing. Like if I see a Tracer back left, even if she's not close enough to shield bash, I can just whip shot her so fast that she doesn't expect it, and then boom, now she has to go find a health pack before she really engages my back line. And especially with 222 lock, a lot of people love, like, no matter what kind of comp your team runs, people just love playing Genji and Tracer. No matter what meta it is, like, people will just lock it in because it's fun to play. So just learning Brig is great to kind of deter those people from
make sure that they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, to ensure they're having a ton of fun while they play this game, for sure.
Of course, you're known for your tip videos that you do with multitudes of pros and streamers and stuff. It's still early days, but have you got any tips on how to play Brigitte, or the new version of her that people may be able to use?
It's to definitely be wary of that shield. I played her a little bit yesterday, and it was getting broken all the time. So playing her, you generally have to play it around line of sight. You can third-person peek with the shield up to get an understanding of your surroundings, but you can't just all-in backlines with your shield because it breaks all the time. And vice versa, if you're playing against a Brig, focus the shield, because the minute the shield breaks, she can't shield bash anymore, right? So lowering that took a lot of power away in that aspect, so you have to play more calculated. It's crazy. So, it's definitely a playstyle adjustment, but I think it was a good step in the right direction. I'm excited to see how she plays out.
And it's nice to be excited about Brigitte.
I know, right? Who would have thought I'd be excited about Brigitte, Imagine hearing that in 2018.
Where should you play Brigitte? It seems like on defense against dive, even on attack versus dive. I guess so long as the enemy team are constantly coming to you, she's really good.
Yes.
Anywhere else, very dicey.
Generally speaking, I'd say any brawly type maps, like defensively on 2CP, defensively on payloads where enemies have to come to you, and King of the Hill maps are great for Brig right now. Offensively, it's a bit harder to run her with, a Rein Zarya combo, because with Rein Zarya, you really ought to play Lucio just to enable your Rein Zarya to get in quick enough. And if you're running Lucio Brig might be a bit iffy in terms of healing, but who knows? Maybe we'll see some teams experiment with that low healing capacity and really all in with the speed boost and Brig swinging. and maybe that'll be enough. But yeah, generally defensive parts of maps, King of the Hill seems to be good so far.
We shall see, but the general impression is that this version of Brigitte could be quite good.
Yes, good, not invincible, but still solid, like a good solid pick.
Where could people see more of you playing more of like any supports really, but no doubt you'll be playing a bit of Brigitte when she goes through to competitive and live and all that. Where could people see more of you?
Oh, I stream 5 days a week at twitch.tv/KarQ, KarQ, between early afternoon to late evenings, Eastern Standard Time, North American Time. So it's probably a little late for EU, but you know, hey, we're all night owls here. We're gamers.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. You can check out all of KarQ's stuff, as I said, in the description below. Definitely check him out. Let me know what you think of Brigitte. I know not a lot of people really like her, but hopefully this opened up your eyes to where she can be really strong. Let me know what you think below. Take care. We'll see you next time.